Hey, I thought I would do just kind of like a quick podcast style, informal video just to talk about my experience with GPT-5 so far. Kind of give my first impressions on what I think about it. So I've mostly been using it to write fiction, which I haven't done for a long time. Like, really, what made my channel here start off was telling people how to use ChatGPT to write novels and stuff. But I got kind of burned out on that. And to be honest, I haven't really written any fiction or any work for myself in like the last year with or without AI. So I just kind of been doing other stuff. But now I'm trying to get back into it because I have seen what GPT-5 is capable of, and I like it. So I've also been on like a free ChatGPT version for the last year or so, but I tried GPT-5 and pretty much immediately upgraded to the paid plan, because then you get an unlimited amount of the GPT-5 thinking model, which will take like a minute or so and actually think stuff through before it responds, which I find is super helpful. And so that's what I've been using to do all of my writing as well, is the thinking model. And previously, a lot of the things that you need to do in your prompts to get ChatGPT to write a book is basically out the window now. It's really gotten a lot better. Also, I ran some stuff that I wrote with ChatGPT through like a couple different of those AI detector websites, and basically everything came back as like 99% human written. So I guess they have defeated that. It's probably going to take a couple weeks or months for those websites to recalibrate and actually find the patterns that indicates in GPT-5 that is actually AI, because it seems like they fixed a lot of the kind of AIism, AI trope kind of things that it repeatedly says, so that's not an issue anymore. But yeah, basically, I don't even know if I did create an outline, so I basically made like a whole story plan for this story, like 24 chapters. I did a style and tone guide, and then I just kind of let it go crazy. I would give it like a 1-sentence prompt and then let it write a whole chapter, as opposed to previously what I would have to do is like break every chapter down into like at least 5 or 6 bullet points per chapter to get it to actually write enough to be a chapter, because ChatGPT never really wants to write more than like 400 or 500 words at once in the past. So that's what you would have to do. But now I have the opposite problem. So I wanted it to write like 1,500 to 2,000 word chapters, but it's actually pretty much just spits out like 3,000 to 4,000 word chapters, even if I ask for like less than 2,000. So that's kind of weird, but also kind of good. It's also very consistent. I've written 6 chapters of a story so far, each about 3,000 words long, and I've only really caught maybe 2 or 3 really big inconsistencies while I was editing. And then one thing that's cool is that I also, after the first 6 chapters, I asked ChatGPT to go back and look for any plot holes or inconsistencies itself. And it found all of the ones that I had found in my editing, and then it also found a few minor things that I didn't even pick up. So that's pretty cool. The big problem that ChatGPT still has, and I guess probably all AI models, is the context window. I think if you use one of the other GPT-5 models in the playground or something like OpenRouter, maybe this wouldn't be an issue, but I think it's still something like 100,000 word context window, and the thinking model uses tokens a bit differently than the base model, and it actually uses more of them. So I talked to GPT-5 about this, and basically you still want to be restarting in a new chat every like 50,000 words or so to be safe. I think like 40 to 50,000 words is on the safe end. I went on the super safe end, so after 6 chapters I was up to like 25,000 words, so I'm in the process of restarting right now. I'm just created a prompt to try and see if I can transfer over as much as possible so that my story stays consistent. That's my biggest fear, is during the transition from one chat to the other, something is going to get lost or something is going to get introduced that I don't want. So I'll see how that turns out. I haven't got to that yet. I've basically like written the prompt for the transfer, but I haven't edited the first chapter that it's made in the new chat yet. If you know what I mean. I think if you use one of the upper GPT-5 models in the playground, you could get up to a 400,000 token context window, which is might be enough to do a whole book if you're like 100,000 words or so. I'm not sure, but that would be worth considering. As far as answering stuff, it's still really good. It's better than good. I don't know. There's like deep research is really cool too. Like I did a previous video how I was using it to learn about genetics and tomato plants and stuff like that. And I actually took the information that I did deep research on tomatoes using GPT-4, and then I fed it back into GPT-5, and it even gave me some new stuff on top of that. But the writing quality for fiction with GPT-5, specifically the thinking model, if you're on free and you're using just GPT-5, I don't know if it'll give the kind of responses that I've been getting, but it is excellent. I would now officially say ChatGPT is a better writer than me. I've like almost come to tears reading the stories that it's, some of the dialogue and just how it's phrasing stuff is so amazing that, yeah, it actually made me a bit emotional just reading it. It says some things in some kind of like weird wording that I have to go through and edit because it's a bit too obscure, or like the analogies and metaphors that it's making are so smart that they go over my head, so I just edit them out just in case they don't actually make sense. I'm finding that I'm having to like Google what it's talking about to see if it actually makes sense sometimes. That's the main issue. I've heard somebody else say that like the temperature on GPT-5, which is like the part how you make the model be more creative, I think it might actually be a bit too high with what I've seen, but you can fix that in editing. I'd rather it be too creative than not creative enough and get repetitive, so that's interesting. I've used it just for other random stuff, asking questions about like starting businesses and niches that would be a good opportunity right now with low barriers to entry and low startup cost, and it's given me a few cool ideas that I might pursue in that area if I'm done writing a book with it. But yeah, it's definitely worth paying for $30 a month to try GPT Plus or whatever it's called. If you haven't tried it in a while, I've been like months and months on the free plan, and I think it's been worth paying for now, so I would do that. I'm also eager to look at what it's like for the coding aspect of stuff, because I saw in like the announcement video, it seemed pretty crazy. It's like writing 200 lines of code in a minute and actually coming out with something good, because I don't know anything about coding, but I would love to start doing the vibe coding, as the kids say, using AI. But the problem is it generates so many errors, and I don't know how to fix them, that it just very quickly becomes something that I can't work with. So I'm going to try that out. It's probably my next thing, because I tried to make a web app for like basically like a horoscope tarot kind of thing previously, but it didn't end up working out because I couldn't get it to work. The programming got too complex for me, and ChatGPT wasn't able to handle it on its own. So I might try going back to square one with that and seeing if it can do it. I think from what I've seen, it might be able to do it by itself now. So we'll try that out. And I think that's pretty much it. I tried Sora a couple of times, and I've been very not impressed with the results. So as far as video goes, I think we've kind of stalled out in that area of things. It's really the writing and like the programming, math, science that I think GPT-5 is really excelling in right now. So if you've been like me and you wanted to make a totally AI generated sitcom that's like 30 minutes long and stays consistent through the whole thing, I think that's kind of off the table now for realistically probably another year or two, I think. So I'm just going back to using it to write stories, and it's very good at that. I'm curious if I try another genre or just another premise for a story, if it's going to come out with something as good again. But let me know in the comments. Subscribe and like. What do you think of ChatGPT 5? Have you given it a try? Let me know. And that's about it. Bye-bye.